to that round of 8. We'll see in a moment. Down here in the bottom left, our Protoss player that just won the last game, he is
Wongjin Stars SOS from Korea.
And down here in the bottom right, a Terran player that lives in Europe but is originally from Korea, he is
Millennium 4GG from Europe.
All right, so Newkirk Precinct, there's a huge amount of area where you can fly things over, like medevacs and whatnot, so in that regard, it's going to be okay for Terran. And in fact, I guess securing the third base might be, like, that time area where you're securing the third base is probably the hardest time period on this map against Terran. So if Terran goes for a pretty standard play and tries to bust you right around when you're like really trying to stabilize, it can be hard. But after that, the map, in my opinion, becomes pretty darn good for Protoss once again. I do feel like just how thin it is, Terran can't run around you very much. It's a lot more direct engagements and frontal pushes, and that is generally speaking going to be good for Protoss because the death ball becomes so difficult to actually engage with all the splash damage. The thinness of the map makes force fields more strong, so we'll have to see how 4GG actually plays the map. Like, does he want to end it early? Does he want to hit a sharp timing like that? Or is he confident to go into a later game here? Well, he's chosen the command center first. We'll have to see how quickly he gets that third command. And pretty standard from him. Double barracks follow-up. Before we saw him go command center first, double barracks, then the third barracks and 2 gases, which is the very old school style of command center first. SOS, what does he choose for his tech route? He's only got 1 gas here, and he's actually chrono boosting a Stalker and the Mothership cores. He has a Zealot going across as well. He's going to be putting on some pretty heavy pressure with these, but he'll most likely just expand behind this. There's no reason for him to do anything else but to just rally over a few units, micro them to the best of his ability, and take his Nexus. So if he can kill a few SCVs, a few Marines and whatnot, he can negate the advantage gained from the quick command center. Command center first is only going to put you up a few SCVs, so if he goes over there and kills 5, 6 SCVs, then suddenly SOS is going to be in a comfortable position, in a lead in fact. So with no bunker here, this is already looking really good for SOS. He's going to have 2 Stalkers, Mothership Core with a Time Warp, and he's going to have a Zealot as well. So that's going to be pretty strong. Luckily for 4GG, he has gone up to 3 racks very quickly, but he's going to have to pull SCVs as well. Now, pretty nice micro from both players. Those SCVs being great linebackers, keeping that Zealot off. But the Mothership Core comes in, and nice surround on the Stalker. You know, was that an overcommittal from SOS? I say I don't know that it was, because he's keeping the Marine count really, really low right now. So Mothership Core can do okay against like 1 or 2 Marines, and then especially if a Stalker's there. And so far it still has a lot of health. As long as he doesn't lose his Mothership Core, I don't think he'll be too sad about the outcome of this. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. And even on the Resources Lost tab, we can see that it is in the advantage of SOS. So not too bad. And as far as the actual SCVs killed, SOS killed 3 SCVs. Not the highest number, but he killed a lot of Marines, so that's nice. Okay, so he's going from this into Double Forge, and I think that this is totally fine on this map. And in this position as well. You know, he's playing against someone who's obviously going for a more macro-oriented build, a lot more units involved, so that's going to make upgrades even more important. Also, he's not overdoing it with tech. Like, he's not going, for instance, sorry to keep bringing it up, but double Oracle into Double Forge, into Colossus in third base. He's going Double Forge. This is where he's being greedy, is the Double Forge. And it's the only place he's being greedy right now, and he has that Mothership Core he got really early, getting a ton of energy, So that plus that sentry you see right there, and we'll see if he gets another sentry or not, but he should be safe against any incoming attacks for a little bit. And he's not even skipping the robo either. He's getting that robo up. I guarantee he'll be getting at least a couple observers very quickly. And those observers are going to help him out because, of course, we do have that Widow Mine drop follow-up that 4GG has been doing basically all the time. And I think SOS has caught on to and knows is very likely going to be coming. So if he can prevent all the damage from the Widow Mine drop while getting these double upgrades so far ahead of 4GG, that's like the perfect scenario for him. Now, pretty late on those extra gates, so it makes the drops a little bit scarier, but again, this isn't... 4GG hasn't been going for quick, like very marine-heavy drops. In fact, as we see, his tech labs are only coming up right now. So stim and combat shields are a long way off, which means any real attack that actually is scary is a long way off. So SOS, really the only thing that matters for him right now is not taking a ton of damage from the Widow Mine drops. That is the one thing that he needs to be very wary of, that he doesn't know for a fact yet anyways. And in fact, that Widow Mine drop is incoming in the south. And his observer is a little bit north of there. There it is. Heaven Dom is a very good observer. Cheers to him. All right. So we'll see what this Widow Mine drop can do, but oh, there's actually quite a few units in there. Not the best anti-Widow Mine force, I have to say. But if he can just stomp down this this Widow Mine drop, that is so important. Now, 4GG is moving out with other units as well. Now, yeah, gateway units out at the front, utilizing some force fields and whatnot. But let's see if this Widow Mine drop can do very much. All right, much quicker that time. In fact, no kills yet. Very good. Now, his observers, he does have 2 observers. And he's kept that out of his natural, so at least he has one area he's mining from. And beautiful, targeting down the medevac, exactly the right choice. He might lose a few probes there, sending a few of them back. Oh, God. Well, did that already go off? Yeah, I guess it did. Never mind, it has 1 kill. But he has to be really careful because it's going to be recharged very, very soon. And looks like he just gets it. So, all right, he's basically done exactly what he needed to. He's in very good shape. He's got 2-2 on the way against someone who's not done 1-0. He's almost got his charge. He's going up to Psy Storm. This is a really good situation for SOS. Even though we do see a 4GG supply lead. All SOS needs to do right now, though, is defend, because he's going to allow 2-2 to carry him through the next portion of the game, because he's going to be 3 upgrades up on Terran. And when you hit 3 or 4 upgrades up, you kind of just eat through anything they have. You know, 1 upgrade, it's a nice advantage. 2 upgrades, that's pretty darn big. But when you get 3 and more, it actually becomes like one-sided in a lot of battles. All right, here we go. And not the best force fields, to be frank. He actually wanted a few more Marines in there. He could have killed them off very quickly, very easily. Notice how he has a pretty heavy Immortal force in there. That's actually kind of cool to see. Now, a lot of micro going on, very good micro indeed, and he doesn't have that many force fields anymore. So it's actually kind of important that he missed those force fields earlier on, because he could have made that force a lot smarter. Now, hits them a bit better this time, but imagine if he hit those force fields after hitting the other ones perfectly, there'd be nothing left in that force. In fact, that last tech may not have happened because he would have lost too much. So now he's taken no damage, really, from any of these attacks, and he's at 2-2. It's time for him to do something. Whether that's an attack or that's an expand, really it's up to SOS, and it looks like it might end up being an attack. I wouldn't mind if he throws a Nexus up behind it. And yeah, he's going up to 8 gates. He's going to have 4 Immortals, which is absolutely hilarious. That buildings aren't even going to exist against 4 + 2 Immortals. So he's going to walk across the map with this army, and it is so powerful. Like, he's going to win every engagement for a little bit. Hellbats aren't even going to do anything against this. Now, we'll see if he throws down the Nexus Binder or he wants every mineral for extra units. A little bit hard to say on that. This is going to be a lot of micro for 4GG. He really has to kite so well here if he wants to win. Nice Guardian Shield going up. Guardian Shield way more important than Force Fields here. And he's dealing pretty good damage to it so far. He's got to be careful though. He's a little bit low on units right now. And in fact, we actually have him breaking through a little bit. He's got to target those Immortals on the Marauders. A lot more Zealots coming in, but that Warpin is really, really far away. And he's losing most of his valuable units. This was a little bit sloppy from SOS. He ended up winning the battle, but like if he had a Warpin a little bit closer and those Zealots joined when they were made, he would still have at least 3 Immortals instead of 1. And the difference between those two is quite obvious. I don't think I need to really spell that out for anybody. So he's going to kill a lot of SCVs here, dealing quite a bit of damage. But if 4GG stabilizes here, he's going to have 2-1 pretty soon. We have no 3-3 on the way. I think we're going to see a bunch of feedbacks here, and then just a lot of Archons being made. Ooh, some Ghosts coming up. I really like those snipes, so he just chooses to go ahead and make those Archons right away. And 4GG starting to actually hold. This has been a pretty effective hold overall. You know, I think SOS got a little bit overconfident when he walked out with that attack and engaged into the army. He really only needed, I think, 1 more round of 8 Zealots in his army, and he had warped that into the side. It just took forever to come over, but he didn't have enough to actually finish off. And now we are looking at an SOS that has no splash damage, that has barely any upgrade advantage. He has a 1 upgrade advantage. He's 2-2 against 2-1. He's 2 bases against 3. Yeah, he killed a lot of SCVs, but this is suddenly extremely 4GG favored, and that's all just because of the 1 poor engagement. He definitely had the potential to crush that army and just kind of roll through 4GG and at least kill off his 3rd base and have a huge army left over. But instead, he's got a very small army. The 3rd base is already relanded. 4GG is up by 40 supply, and he's looking poised to be the first player out of this group. Yeah, this doesn't look good. That is a lot of Hellbats in there. Zealots taking huge amounts of damage, and once they are gone, so are the Archons. Should be seeing GG in just a moment here. The 7 Zealots being warped in obviously cannot do anything at all. And now he's down to 1 base and almost no probes. So pretty surprising in my opinion there, GG. Pretty surprising. 4GG actually coming out first place